All right, I just want to walk you through one really quick example of how to solve a system of equations using elimination. Your textbook goes over how to solve the systems using substitution, and that's great. But sometimes I do prefer the elimination method, and some of you may remember that method and may prefer it. And so here's just a quick reminder example. If you do need more than this or interested in more for both elimination and substitution, I'll post a link to Khan Academy that has some great stuff that'll help you out with that if you need a little bit extra. So here's just this one example I want to show you guys how this works. We write some equations up here for us to work with. So, all right, here is our system of equations. We have those two, and we could solve this using substitution. If we solve using substitution, I want to solve for one of my variables in one of my equations to start off with, right? And it would be easy enough to solve for y down in the second equation, but it's not always very easy to solve for one of my variables. If I were solving for one of my variables up here, it wouldn't come out as nice. I'd probably end up with some fractions, which can not be very nice to work with sometimes. And so you may want to use elimination instead in some situations. And so let me show you how that works. My goal with elimination is that I want to be able to add my equations together, so adding like terms, x's and then y's and then constants, so that when I do that, one of my variables cancels off to 0. Well, if I add them right now, my variables aren't going to cancel. I'll end up with 5x and negative 4y, and I still have x and I still have y, and that doesn't help me. And so I need to manipulate one or both of my equations to get it so that something's going to cancel off. Well, the easy place to do that in this one is I can multiply entire equations by numbers. And so I want to multiply this bottom equation by 3, or negative 3 really, because what I want to have is I want a coefficient that's the same, but I want to have opposite signs, and we'll see how that works out as we do this. So we're multiplying this bottom equation by negative 3. That means I'm multiplying everything in there by negative 3. Top equation will keep the same, and so bottom one becomes negative 9x plus 3y equal to negative 30. Right there, as we multiply that negative 3 through. And so I wanted it to be negative 3 because now here my coefficients on my y's are the same. They're both 3, but they have opposite signs. And that's important because now as I'm adding these together, I end up negative 7x here, but these will cancel off. Negative 3 plus 3 gives us 0, y right there, and we get rid of that y variable. And then we have 9 minus 30 is negative 21, and we have one equation with one variable that we can solve. Let me get rid of that little mark there. And pretty simply we can solve this, right? Divide that negative 7 both sides, and we have a positive 3 as our answer for x. Not quite done yet because I do still need to figure out what is y, but that's pretty simple. Now I have x, I can plug it into either one of these original equations and find y. So we'll put it in this first one, putting 3 in for x right there, and we solve for y. So that gives me 6 minus 3y equals 9. Subtract that from both sides. Equals 3, and divide by negative 3. And we find out that y equals negative 1. And I have my full solution. I have, really this will be the point, 3, negative 1. And so if I were to graph both of these on the same plane, I would find that they cross at this point 3, -1. And that's how we use elimination. Like I say, just a quick intro. Check out the link for Khan Academy if you need a little bit more than that, but hopefully that'll get you started.